Welcome back to our sessions, and hopefully we can complete our qualifications today, and if not today, we'll definitely complete next week. So we'll begin with the opening prayers and the invocation verses of Tattvabodha and also the Vivekacūḍāmaṇi text. Hari Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Veeryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanandam Madacharya Varam Param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodho Bhidiyate. Sarva Vedānta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosmyaham. Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosmyaham. So we are seeing verses from Tattvabodha and the text Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, to it, which adds to the meaning that we find in the text Tattvabodha. And what section are we seeing? We are seeing the sadhana chatushtaya sampattihi, which are the sadhanas, the means required to again gain that knowledge of self. And how many are the means? There are four qualifications that every aspirant is said to, gain to some measure. Okay, we're not talking absolute gain. These are the qualifications that we need. Like with any subject matter, you need certain qualifications to understand. With Vedanta also, there are certain qualifications that we need of mind to understand. And there is no certificate given after we gain these qualifications. There is absolutely no reward that we gain from outside. It is all internal reward alone that you see in your mind. So what are the qualifications? We saw the first one, just to refresh, called Vivekaha. And Vivekaha means discriminative analysis. This is not any particular type of discriminative analysis. There are many discriminative, ways of doing. We saw Viveka in the world. We can do Viveka between what is right thing to do, what is the wrong thing to do. That is one type of Viveka. Many other aspects we can do, differentiating between two things, is called Vivekaha. But in this text, both of them, there is a very specific discriminative analysis that is talked about, and that is called Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivekaha, which is the discriminative analysis, the capacity to discern between what is permanent and what is fleeting, what is unreal, what is always going, So what is permanent, we will find out through the words of Vedanta, but what is impermanent, we can see very clearly. So, who is the one, you can ask? There must be a permanent something watching all the impermanent changes, right? There must be a permanent something to recognize the impermanent. Otherwise, impermanent is not known. So, this is called Vivekaha, very important qualifications to get, because if I don't have this qualification, I will constantly be pulled from outside in the world. There will be always attachment to what is impermanent. I will keep going after impermanence in life, which most people do. Even though we know it's impermanent, what do? We get stuck in that cycle. We keep going after impermanent. When that thing leaves us, we cry. Then we go after something else impermanent, and then we enjoy it for a while. Then that thing also, sometimes it's not there any longer. Then we cry. So the whole world is like this. 1 minute happy to gain the impermanent thing. Next minute, when the impermanent thing goes, I'm unhappy. Is that wise? Because I know it's impermanent, yet I go up and down like a yo-yo emotionally because of things coming into my life. Things that I love come into my life. Things also leave my life. It is very difficult. So here, Vivekaha becomes a very important qualification. Once I see that, there are certain things. Life is all about change. Life is about dynamic flow. Nothing ever stays the same. It is impermanent, the nature of impermanence. Once I see that more and more, and it gets assimilated, what happens? Then the next qualification comes very, very naturally. Then, iha mutra phalabhoga viragas tadanantaram. Tadanantaram, after doing the discriminative analysis, what happens? You gain a dispassion for this world. All those things that used to interest you before, you cannot find joy in them. The interest in them subsides, it dies out. Phalabhoga, you're not also interested in so much acquisition, gain. Why? The mind becomes, what is the sign of a dispassionate mind? Actually, that is interesting to see. Mind will start getting thoughts like, oh, why do I need that extra dress? I already have 100 dresses in my wardrobe. Why do I need anything extra in the house? Simplicity. So the mind becomes more and more minimalistic. That's a nice word. Minimalistic mind is a dispassionate mind because it is not dependent on externals for happiness. So this dispassion starts dawning, and you also find dispassion for other achievements. It doesn't have to be for objects. How much can I achieve in life? How many promotions can I get? Even if I become CEO of a company, even if I have my own business, I'm working, you know, people who run their own businesses, they really work hard. If you see successful business people, they don't work, 12-hour weeks, 12-hour days. What do? It's 24, sometimes 16 hours. They sacrifice sleep, they sacrifice food, sacrifice family. Even family life is sacrificed because business has to become successful. Then what do you gain? Maybe you gain a lot of money. You gain in the form of artha. You gain a lot of respect. But then you have to keep working all your life to keep that respect up, to keep the bank account topped up. And then what? When you get to 65, 70, retire. Then you don't know what to do. By that time, the body is, after all the stresses, anxieties, strains of doing that type of living, what happens? 70, what can you do? Travel, go on holiday here, go on holiday there. But again, you're with yourself. So when we see life like this, why are we doing what we are doing? It is very important to discern that. Why we are doing what we are doing. So here, Adau Nitya Vastu Vivekaha becomes a very important. The Vivekaha has to come, Vairagya is followed. Okay. Then we saw that after the Vairagya dawns, what happens? Then Vairagya comes, Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha. We have the other Sampatihi, the wealth of mental qualifications comes into the picture. So, Shamadama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shatka Sampattihi, it is called. The sixfold qualifications follow this. So, when the tranquil state of mind, when you're able to rest, after Vairagya Viveka has taken place, then you begin this process also. And these are very important qualifications because these are how you deal with the world. How is your reaction to the world? So Shama, Dhamma, Shama, we saw Swalakshe, Niyatavastam, Manasaha Shama Uchyate, which is said in the Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ. In Tattvabodha, we saw Mano Nigraha, reining in the patterns of thinking, the negative patterns of mind. You are able to manage them. You're able to assimilate them. You're able to resolve them as well. So Shama becomes an important thing to have when you notice you have some negative thinking. See, negative thinking, I've said before, we cannot blame the mind for thinking negatively. Because of karma, it is definitely going to come, negative thinking. We cannot avoid negative thinking. But what do I do? If some thoughts disturb me, disturbing thoughts I call negative thoughts, okay? In fact, there's nothing negative or positive. It is only our judgment. We have only thoughts. The mind is only full of thoughts. But because I judge, this is negative thought, this is good thought, this is negative thought, bad thought, good thought. I'm always judging myself according to the thinking. So this is one thing we realize Shamaha reduces that type of judgment. I am very, very objective to my mind. And before the thought can manifest, I examine it. I look at it. Alert living is what is called Shamaha. And Dhamma goes with Shama. Chakshuradi Bahendriya Nigraha. So we saw this also. This Dhamma means placing the organs of action in their respective centers of activity. You rein in the sense organs also into their particular golakas or their locations. So when the eyes want to go out and see something which is not very positive, what do? I have the capacity to rein in the power of sight, and I can close my eyes. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives a beautiful analogy of the tortoise, a turtle, as the yada samharate chayam, as the turtle or tortoise is able to rein in its limbs at will. As soon as it feels that my survival is threatened, what does it do? It withdraws itself under the shell. So Dhammaha means you protect yourself under the shell. Shamaha means you resolve whatever you have withdrawn from in your mind. So it doesn't keep continuing in your mind. This is very important to practice on a day-to-day basis, not letting the ears always hear what is negative. The sense organs sometimes love to go, they go all over the place, but the mind goes after the sense organs. But generally, we go after negative things. We go after something that brings the mind down. Again, the news is a very, very good example to show us. All the news, we hear about wars, we hear about bombings, we hear about death, we hear about destruction, floods. Every time you switch the news channel on, whether it is in Hindi or in English or in Japanese, sometimes I flick through all the news channels from different countries. Every news channel in every country is depressing news. I don't think there's any country where there's positive news talked about. But what happens? Human mind is such, it likes to go after negative. So this is another way of practicing Shama and Dhamma. Is it necessary to let that in my system? It's not necessary. What am I going to gain by knowing who is getting blown up where, what floods are happening? All the time, mind will get disturbed. Of course, I need a relative knowledge of what's happening, but constant watching, that is not going to help you spiritually. Again, we're talking about spiritual qualification for spiritual life. Then after Shamadama, the next qualification we saw was Uparama, Uparati or Uparama, and we saw different aspects of this qualification. In the Tattvabodha, the author says, Swadharma Anushtanam Eva. The one who is able to play their role well in life is called Uparama Uparati. Play your role well means when you put the mother hat on, you're a good mother. When you go into your employment, you're a good employee. When you are with a friend, you are a good friend. These are called always changing roles we have to play. And swadharma means what? Swadharma means I play my role well. I don't deviate from my roles. And we saw roles are unfolding all the time. Generally, we know how to play the role. If we don't know, there are people we can ask advice from to understand what my duty is. So, role means duty. So, it's a duty filled life, uparama uparati. That is one understanding of it. And another understanding was the Bhākyan alambanam vritte reshaha uparatihi uttama. Freedom from the influence of external objects and situations and people, the ability to withdraw the senses. We saw that it's very close to Dhamma in this aspect, but the ability to be still with yourself. So Dhamma means you physically withdraw. Shama, you mentally resolve that physical withdrawal. Here, Uparatihi means you don't have any influence. Whether that object is there or not, you're not bothered by it. On one level, you're practicing on the physical level by actually distancing yourself from the objects physically. Here, uparatihi means that you're not bothered. Whether it's there or not, you have that capacity of mind to be unaffected whether objects are there or not. So this type of, it's called self-withdrawal. Also, sometimes uparati can mean sannyasa. That is the biggest form of withdrawal from the world, right? You drop all the roles there. So it's interesting. Uparati has two opposite meanings. One is playing your role well, one is dropping all your roles. And both of them have the same, have the meaning of this qualification, depending on what level the aspirant is at. So depending on your level, you can take it both ways. Uparati also means I renounce the fruits of my action. That is a form of withdrawal also. I don't keep clamoring after things in life. I want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. Renunciation of the fruits of action is also uparati. So we saw various understanding of uparati. And when we finished uparati, we saw titiksha, which was the final value. Before I left you all, we saw a very, very important value called titiksha. Titiksha in the Tattvabodha is classified as Shitoshna Sukha Dukkha Dukkhadi Sahishnutvam. Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhadi Sahishnutvam, which means the capacity to bear the pairs of opposites. The pairs of opposites on the physical level, as in heat and cold. Sometimes, Swamiji used to say, when a couple traveling on the train, and it was very, 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 very hot, and the husband kept on. Now I'm going to say the husband kept on saying, not the wife kept on saying. I'm changing it a little bit. Why not? The husband kept on saying, "It's so hot. It's so hot. It's so hot." So the wife, the next station, the wife gets off, gets him some water, and he drinks it and he cools down. But the rest of the journey, what does he say? It was so hot, it was so hot, it was so hot. So it is this titiksha that is not titiksha. We're thinking about always also what happened in the past and complaining about it is also not titiksha. The capacity to bear the pairs of opposites, and we have to add that extra, if they are unchangeable situations, okay? Suppose I can change the situation. If I'm in a very, very hot place, I can become cool by switching the fan on. I don't need to sit and say, titiksha, sa titiksha. No, I don't need to do that. I can switch on the fan, I can switch on the AC, and I can enjoy coolness. But suppose there's a big power cut in the city. I mean, in India, it's best place to practice titiksha. Big power cut, your inverter is not working, everything is off, fans not working, and the AC is also off. What will you do? It's unchangeable situation. Will you complain, oh, it's so hot, I'm so sweaty, it's so hot? Or you just take it, this is the fact. And I accept the fact, I am sweaty, but I don't resist. So Shita, Ushna means hot. Shita means cold. Same, likewise in cold climates, some climates are cold. In England, in a few months, is probably going to be very, very cold. Other climates are even colder. Are we able to bear with it? Put on some gloves, put on some hat, put on some good walking shoes and get out. Get out. Not in sitting in the house saying it's too cold, too cold. I hear a lot of people, good way, especially in the winter months here, they don't want to go out because everybody feels like hibernation and you don't feel like exercising and you just stay warm in the house with the heating on. And what everybody, you hear the conversation, it's very cold outside, it's too cold, it's snowing outside, it's too frosty, we can't go out. So again, this type of thing is, you find that when you practice titiksha, it lessens more and more. So you keep doing things despite the opposites. That's the way to understand it. Keep carrying on with your life despite the opposites. Keep doing. And that is the first understanding we saw of titiksha. The second understanding we saw of titiksha is a very beautiful extra understanding that Adi Shankaracharya adds in Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ. He says, Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam. So in the Tattvabodha, Sukha Dukkha is also mentioned. So on the level of the mind, he wants to come to the level of the mind. Because ultimately everything is experienced where? The mind. It is where the mind where heat and cold is complained about. It is the mind where sukha, where happiness is not complained about. Mind where sukha takes place. Mind where dukkha takes place. It is only where dukkha is complained about, right? So sukha, when I'm having a pleasant experience, I never have complaints. I love pleasant experiences. We all love pleasant experiences. Who will deny themselves from pleasure? Will anybody? Of course, if you're doing tapas and everything, that is tapas denying yourself of some pleasure. But generally, we court, we welcome all the pleasures in life and we want to get rid of dukkha. So here Adi Shankaracharya adds an extra. He says, apratikara purvakam. Even if it is an unpleasant situation, don't try and change it. Try and go through it. Develop your capacity to bear things in life. You have the strength within you. You see, in life, we only get through challenges when we test ourselves. I've said this, last time as well, like a jet plane is tested, with all the tests it has to undergo before it's flight worthy. Bhagavan puts us through all the tests in life to show that we are ready for that spiritual success, which we are born for, which is our birthright. So here, put yourself through the test. See how your mental capacity is to tolerate any form of pain. I can take it. I look at it. I'm not afraid of pain. If I'm afraid of pain, I will live like 99% of the world. What do people afraid of pain do? They run away in entertainment. Entertainment is actually running away from looking at the pain and the mind. Because when the conscious mind is not active, unconscious comes and it's a painful thing. In Vedanta, we always say you have to face your unconscious. You have to manage your unconscious through Bhagwan's grace. That past has to be resolved, because unless that past, the childhood, all the trauma that has happened in childhood is resolved, this absolute knowledge is very, very difficult to assimilate. So Vedanta requires a lot of introspection, a lot of alert living. And here Adi Shankaracharya says, Chinta Vilaparahitam. He adds the extra saying, without worry, without moaning, without complaining. Without moaning and worry means I accept it's my prarabdha. Whatever has happened is prarabdha karma. Whatever is manifesting for me in any way, the people manifesting for me is also my karma. So everything that I have to undergo is also karmic. And best to exhaust the karma in one life, because if you keep putting it off by running away, you're going to have to be reborn and exhaust the same thing. What is the point? So that is what, if we believe in the theory of reincarnation, we are definitely going to take birth after birth, come back to exhaust karmas. So if what the Veda says is that if you don't go through what is there for you in this life, if you keep running away from it, if you keep avoiding it, changing situation after situation, then what? Then you will definitely get another birth to exhaust that. And if you don't, in that birth also, if you keep running, what happens? Next birth also, because the law works like that. Karma is only, exhausted when you undergo the experience. You note this. We exhaust karma how? Our karma phalam, the results of action, are only exhausted when I go through the experience. That's what is called exhaustion of karma, actually. And we cannot exhaust all the karmas in our bank account, in our karmic account. So, whatever I have in this life, the best prudent way, intelligent way of saying is that I pray to Lord. I pray to the Lord to give me strength to face whatever I have to face in life. It's a very beautiful prayer, very nice prayer to have, and that is the most intelligent prayer to have. So this, we left it off with just a summary of what we saw last time. And then we move on to another very, very important qualification, which is called śraddhā. Śraddhā is a very beautiful word in Sanskrit. It does not have any particular English equivalent. So in the Tattvabodha, the description of śraddhā, śraddhā kīdṛśī, the aspirant asks the guru, śraddhā kīdṛśī, what is this śraddhā? Guruvedāntavākyādiṣu viśvāsaḥ, śraddhā. So this is again in the Tattvabodha, this is the description of śraddhā. In Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, what is being said? śāstrasya guruvākyasya satyabuddhyavadhāraṇam sa śraddhā kathitā sadbhiryayā vastūpalabhyate. So śāstrasya, both of them say that it is having a type of commitment. It is a faith or a trust in the veracity, in the truth of the words of scriptures as revealed by a traditional teacher. So this all comes as a package. The Guru and Shastra in this definition of Shraddha comes as a package. Cannot have the scriptures without the teacher unfolding the scriptures in this particular lineage as well. So this is the understanding, the import, exact import of the scriptures, as well as the words of the teacher, what the teacher says, understanding why the teacher is saying, what the teacher is saying, and that is called śraddhā. And Adi Shankaracharya adds in Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, by this qualification alone does the reality become clear to the student. So this śraddhā is an important quality to get because it is something that one finds in the path to discover the reality. There is a very beautiful derivation of Shraddha in Sanskrit. As I said, Sanskrit is such a beautiful language. Shraddh or Shrat means truth in Sanskrit. Satya and dha means to hold, to sustain. So that one understanding of Shraddha means one who holds on to, one who is committed to discovering the truth. That is a qualification of the mind. Shastra, many areas on the scriptures, you see, acharyavan labhate jnanam, which means if you have a teacher, you will definitely gain the knowledge. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. So acharyavan purusho veda. Acharyavan purusho veda. If you have a teacher, you will definitely know that purusha. You will know the cosmic being. You will know that supreme being. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. The one with this qualification of Shraddha will definitely gain this knowledge. You cannot but gain the knowledge. Many areas we find in all the texts, all the scriptures, pointing to this commitment, this committing to the scriptures. It is a very honest and sincere way of discovering the moksha. Honest and sincere, you are honest with yourself, you're sincere with yourself, and you're connected and committed to a way of unfoldment, a particular way, because there are many things we can be committed to. We say that in life. YouTube is another commitment. So many things on YouTube, so many different talks, so many different texts. what is the right way to go? That is what is called commitment. So Shraddha means guruvedāntavākyādiṣu, viśvāsaḥ. It is having a trust in the conviction in the words of the teacher, as revealed, as he or she reveals from Vedānta. So here, for this qualification, there is a very important thing that one has to note. Vedanta becomes a pramana. So pramana buddhi becomes extremely important. Pramana buddhi is that Veda is a means of knowledge. It is something I use. Means of knowledge means every other means of knowledge cannot give me what Vedanta can give me. Every other means of knowledge gives me knowledge of external world. All my eyes reveal form and color. My ears reveal sound. My skin reveals touch. Everything gives me, knowledge of the outside world. But what about Veda? Vedas reveal something imperceptible. Vedas talk about the order of karma, the order of dharma, the order of even the talk about the subtle aspect, the subtle body, sukshma shariram. We will see that later on in these texts. They talk about the subtle aspect of life, the subtle aspect of living. Your sense organs cannot reveal Brahman. They cannot reveal consciousness, which is their very source. And the irony in life is that Lord has made all the sense organs pointing outwards. Paranchikani vyatrinat swayambhuhu. They're all pointing external. How am I going to understand? The organs are extroverted. Even if I have binoculars, can the eyes see themselves? Eyes cannot see themselves even with binoculars, only objects of the world objectified. The self is the very content of the sense powers. How are you going to recognize that? So I cannot objectify myself. That is number one thing that has to be recognized. That is why I need an external means, like a mirror. I need an external means of knowledge to make me see myself, the nature of myself. And that external means of knowledge is what we call Upanishad, Vedanta, and again, the Guru comes along with the package. The second reason this qualification becomes important is that I also have a lot of wrong notions about myself. I have, wrong perceptions about myself. I don't see myself clearly. All the time I'm reactive in life. That eye gets hurt all the time. Even if somebody says a little thing, the eye is hurt. So there is a wrong notion of the I. The ego is given high importance in life that it doesn't really deserve. If I put the ego, individual self, on top of the list, I will always be a hurt, wounded human being, victim of all other things in life. That is where Vedanta helps you reduce that I thought. You see that I thought is not actually you. More and more, Vedanta exposure to Vedanta Shastra helps you discover that. So I have Shraddha for the words of Vedanta, which reveal a different aspect of me. They reveal a different side of me. They reveal my true nature. Do I not have faith in a doctor? When I go to the doctor and he prescribes me medicine, I have faith it will work, right? And even when I get into an Uber taxi, if I get into a taxi, do I not have faith that the taxi driver is going to take me to my destination? If I get onto a flight, I just, I sit there and I have, faith that the flight is going to fly from London to Mumbai. The plane is not going to go to somewhere in Russia. I have faith. Generally, I have faith when I get on a flight. If I booked a flight from London to Mumbai, it is going to go to Mumbai. I have faith in so many things in life. I have faith even in the hairdresser. Hairdresser comes with big scissors. Suppose I have a lot of hair. Comes with scissors, comes with many things. And I have faith what? That they're not going to stab me. I have faith in the dentist who comes with that horrible sounding drill. Always when we go to the dentist's office, we hear the drill. And even it sounds frightening to hear the drill, but I have the faith that the dentist is going to do the right thing with my teeth. So many life in areas of a life, I give my ego up to the person, or I give my ego up to the person, the thing that I'm in, the situation I'm in. Why? Here Shastra says why we can't do it with teaching as well. It is giving in to the teaching, putting aside the concepts I have, all the concepts I've brought in. So that's why Vedāntavākyādiṣu becomes important. It is like you just come, you sit, you listen, and surrender. That is all one has to do. And we're saying even that all one has to do becomes difficult, because that's why Shraddha is noted as a particular qualification, because it's not so easy to just surrender to the teachings. It takes some effort, it takes some time. But rishis, what can we note? Rishis, the sages of past, have handed over this knowledge. Thousands of years it's been available, and it's been passed down from the guru to the disciple, guru from the disciple who becomes guru, passed down through a lineage, and it is still here with us today. What does that indicate? It should indicate to you, if you think, that at least somewhere down on the line, somebody must have benefited, right? There must have been some benefit, at least that much I can have Shraddha in. Somewhere, someone must have benefited, because it's here with us, and still it's continuing this knowledge as well. So, Veda is an independent means of knowledge, and it reveals what is non-perceptible, imperceptible, and non-verifiable as well. We have to be very that's interesting word, the non-verifiable. Scientific experiments cannot be done in the order of karma. Scientific experiments cannot be done to test the sukshma sharira, the subtle body. Can we use science to see if there's a subtle body somewhere? Maybe Kirlian photography, they have this particular photography that can, show you your aura, the different colors. But modern science will not recognize all of that. They want quantifiables, want something which is on paper. So I have Shraddha in many things because my mind accepts the pramana. I have Shraddha in my eyes. I look out and I see a tree, and I don't doubt that my eyes are bringing in knowledge of a tree, right? I recognize it. I look at a person, human being, I don't doubt. So I don't doubt so many things. In the same way, Veda becomes an independent means of knowledge. It reveals reincarnation, rebirth, as I said, subtle body, law of karma. It also reveals the products of karma, that I get a visible result, but I also get invisible result of karma. Every action I do, I get a visible result here and now, and I also get invisible result. The Veda talks about it. All of these are non-verifiable. And finally, the end portion of Veda is called Vedānta or Upanishad, reveals the imperceptible truth of the whole universe. It talks about one Brahman, limitless consciousness, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, Ishavasyam Idagam Sarvam. There is only one all pervasive, limitless truth of this universe, which is the same truth in yourself. Just as space pervades the whole universe, that consciousness pervades everywhere. It's imperceptible, unseen. But without consciousness, you cannot come to life. Everything happens because of consciousness. So Vedanta teaches you this something which is imperceptible, and it is verifiable. So this is a verifiable. That's why Shraddha becomes important. Why is it verifiable? When you discover the self, it is verified, right? When you discover that you are jnani, when you have, enlightened, we call it enlightenment, self-realization, self-discovery, self-enlightenment. When the discovery happens, you verified that the means of knowledge has worked. But until then, until it works, what do I have to do? Shraddha. I have a commitment that this is the way, this is going to unfold the reality for me. Whether in this Janma or next Janma, we don't know. So don't worry about the Janmas, because we all are picking up the thread. We still continue. Arjuna asked Krishna that question: what if I die without knowing the truth about myself? What if I have 1 foot in the world and 1 foot in spiritual life? What will happen? He's worried. Krishna, what does Krishna say? No, you have to do it now. No, he says, you won't be born as a cockroach, Arjuna. You won't be born as some kind of animal. You will definitely pick up the thread. You will have a very conducive birth. I will make sure if you study Vedanta in this life, Nothing is wasted. If you do practices such as japa, if you do meditation, fasting, all this tapas, if you do, you won't go to waste. Some people think, oh, I did so much of practice in my life. I did so much to purify the mind. And look at me. I'm 99 and I'm going to pop off next day. I'm feeling like that. I haven't discovered the truth. I'm going to leave. And we tell that Shastra tells that 99-year-old, don't worry, you will definitely get a conducive birth. Yeah, maybe you have to go through a few years of just babyhood, childhood, all of this. But one day or other, you're going to pick up the thread. You're going to hear Bhagavad Gita somewhere, or you're going to hear Vedānta Shastra somewhere, and you will connect to it, and it won't leave you. Even if you leave it, it is not going to leave you. So this is very important. Shraddha in the formless. There is a very beautiful mantra in Mundaka Upanishad. And what does that mantra say? Yettat adreshyam agrahyam agotram avarnam achakshushrotam tadapani padam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tat avyayam yet bhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. Brahman, that limitless consciousness, is that which cannot be perceived, that which cannot be grasped, that which is without a source, without a lineage, that is without properties. It does not have eyes, it does not have ears, it is without hands and legs. Brahman is timeless, all pervading. It is very, very subtle, subtler than even space. It is Brahman is the one that becomes many. Sarvagatam, it is pervades everywhere. It is imperishable. It never has birth or death. And it is the material cause for all beings here in this Jagat. It is and who sees this Brahman? The ones who see it are the discriminative ones, paripashyanti dhiraha, the ones with discrimination. They can see these name and forms are not the reality of this universe. It's like living in a virtual reality world. I always say, we think we put virtual reality glasses on and we're living in virtual reality. The Upanishads say you are living now in virtual reality. It is not as real as you think it is. We take it to be so real. But when you take the glasses off, you recognize, my God, what was I worried about that? Where was the fear? The fear happens when you have the glasses and you're identified with the virtual world. When you take the glasses off, you realize you are not in that virtual world anymore, but you can still enjoy the virtual world with knowledge. That's the beauty of it. You can put the glasses on after that recognition. When you're too absorbed in the virtual world, you take the glasses off, then enlightenment, and put the glasses on and enjoy the virtual world, enjoy everything. So here it is the Shraddha that the Upanishad reveals this fact. It is revealing something we don't know. Upanishads, thousands of years, it's not going to come and tell me something I already know. So some people translate some darshanas, some words of the Upanishad, like Tattvabodha, very famous Mahavakya, that you are that, that is sometimes translated as Atattvam-asi, you are not that. Because if you see in the Sanskrit, actually, the whole Sanskrit word, you can split the Sanskrit like that. It is not grammatically wrong. But the logic, what is the logic in that? Do we need thousands of years of literature to come and tell us you're not that? I feel so happy I'm not that. I'm not Ishvara, I'm not the world, I'm different from everybody. I feel so happy I can still continue being victim of the world. I can still continue to suffer because there's always others and there's me. Will the Upanishad come and tell us something like that? It doesn't make logical sense, right? What is the Upanishad doing? It's telling you, look, there is something else that underlines this whole Jagat, underlines this reality. And that reality is the reality of yourself also. So it is revealing something that the rishis have seen for themselves cognitively. They have recognized for themselves and they have seen, and they are handing over this knowledge to the whole of mankind, whole of humanity. It is not just for people from a certain place. Non-duality, teachings of non-dualism is for the whole world. And it is this teaching alone that will save all the problems the world is facing with all the the tensions and the differences, all of this, all differences you will see, differences will continue to exist because people are different. Situations are different. There are differences in so many intellectual differences, physical differences. There are also language differences, country differences. But ultimately, the differences we say are only a projection on the one. They're all changing. If you see it, all the differences are always changing. 1 minute they can be like this, 1 minute something else. Everything always changing has to have a changeless basis, right? Everything, if you look in life, a changeless basis has to be for the changing. Like the car moves on a road, which is changeless basis. The train moves on the track, which is changeless basis. So we're saying the whole Jagat, all the names and forms, all the actions we see taking place, like movie screen is the best. The movie screen is a changeless basis. But the whole movies, the roles, all the actions, dishum dishum, and all that we see in the movies, the comedies, the love stories, we see so many things happening all on the one changeless basis. So this is called Shraddha, having a conviction that this changeless basis is the truth of this whole universe. And it is my spiritual duty, if you call it like that. Why are we born? We are born for a spiritual purpose. We're born to discover this changeless basis. So Shraddha first in the words of Vedanta, Shraddha second in the words of Guru who reveals this words of Vedanta. Because one has access to the scriptures through the teacher. The teacher becomes the embodiment for the teaching in the Shastra, in the scriptures. We cannot study this by ourselves. Many people think I can read the Upanishad by myself. Yeah, it is only this thin, okay? Most of the Upanishads are like this. You can take the translation, try and read it yourself. What will you understand? I'll give you a verse, Dva Suparno Sayuja Sakhaya. There's a verse in Mundaka Upanishad. There are two birds sitting on one tree, and one bird is eating all the fruits. The other bird simply watches. That is one of the mantras in Mundaka Upanishad. If you start reading that yourself, that is the translation you'll get. What will you understand? How will you have any understanding of this? Then you'll think, oh, two birds in one tree. That's nice. One is watching, one is eating all the fruits. It spits out the bitter fruit, eats the sweet fruit, then it doesn't like another fruit, it's going around. Is that what Upanishads wants to convey? No, it is a lot of analogies in the Upanishads, a lot of, I would say, kind of, very, very interesting statements it makes, but it is guhyam, secret knowledge. So it is like a code language the rishis have conveyed in. I would say it's like code, it's coded. The Vedanta Upanishads actually code language. Then who is going to decipher the code for you? That's what we call guru. A teacher is required to decipher the codes of the Upanishad. And another, this is Shraddha in that teacher who deciphers. Krishna says in the 3rd chapter, Bhagavad Gita, very beautiful verse, Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyantah muchyante te kilbishai, muchyante te karmabihi. So those people who constantly follow this teaching of mine, he's saying, Ye me matamidam, who follow this teaching of mine, who are committed to know this truth, who maintain trust until the knowledge takes place, and he uses a very important word here, anasuyantaha, without finding fault. So, without finding fault, firstly, in the words of Vedanta, not questioning all the time, I can't believe it. Is it really this? Is it, some people already have concepts in their mind. So when they come to Vedanta, say, no, but the Buddhists say this. No, these people, the Vishishtadvaita people say this. Christians say this. Muslims say this. And how can this be true? So this type of questioning, what Vedanta requires is a clean slate, okay? So it doesn't mean that you don't have your opinions, you don't have a view, but the pramana, means of knowledge, for the means of knowledge to work, I put them to aside when I am in the class or when I come to study Vedanta, because it is very important that the clean slate alone works. If we put the concepts and everything, add extra, it is not going to bless the knowledge as it should bless. So here, the trust now is in the words. Like Bhagavan says himself, Krishna, that he is the one, who's giving this teaching, and we don't find fault in the teaching, because what Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita is same that is being taught in the Upanishads as well. And he says, without finding fault in the teaching, without finding fault in the teacher, that also comes there. Understand the guru is not out to hurt you and bring you down. That is not what the teacher is for. The guru will definitely cater what is necessary for the student's growth. Guru, this is not any type of teacher. Even in other spheres of knowledge, the teacher does correct the students for the benefit of the students. Here also, teachers in the same way, for the benefit, spiritual benefit of the students, for this growth of the students, the guru will say. But the trust, the shraddha comes in the words of the guru for that also. It is not Vedānta Vakya only. Here, what is being said is that the ego should not assert itself, need not assert itself, constantly questioning. And this I know better attitude has to subside in this knowledge. Yes, maybe in future you will know better, but for you to know better, you should not know better, if you know what I mean. You should not know better than the teacher for you to eventually know better than everyone. So I give due consideration to what the teacher is saying. I give the teacher the benefit of the doubt. At the same time, Shraddha does not mean simply swallowing whatever the teacher says. It is not blind belief. It is an understanding. It is a reverence for the teaching, a reverence for the communicator. But at the same time, we have a chance to question. The whole tradition is about getting my doubts cleared. Mananam, which is the second aspect of the Vedanta sadhana, Shravanam, listening, Mananam, the clearing doubts. Always there are times where you can clear the doubt with a live teacher. That's also very important. You cannot clear doubts with just watching YouTube videos. The live teacher is required for clearing doubts, because there are some things that happen with the mananam process as well. And for knowledge to take place, you definitely need the doubts to be cleared. Otherwise, knowledge will not stay. So Ishvara, we have to understand, is not a matter for belief. Ishvara that is being unfolded, the Lord, is a matter for understanding. Understanding will only come when your doubts regarding Ishvara, all the concepts we have of Bhagavan, all the concepts we have of Lord from so many different sources, that those concepts are again first questioned, and then right understanding takes place. So teacher and the scripture are one and the same. A teacher is your key. Teacher doesn't have any agenda. The teacher is your key, Key, to unraveling the words and mantras, your gateway to understand. Bhagavan uses a very, very important word here, anasuyantaha. In this verse, he says, anasuyantaha means without seeing the negative in the teacher or the teaching. So this will often come dosha darshanam. Asuya means guneshu dosha darshanam. We see the negative in what is positive. So sometimes unpleasant things may be said, but again, if one sees it for the growth, it is not with any malice meant. It is not meant with any kind of prejudice, any kind of malice. It is meant for the growth. So even Bhagavan says, don't see doshas in the teacher. Don't see dosha in me. The one who sees the teaching, don't see the dosha in me. Don't find fault. Bhagavan himself says, Krishna, don't find fault with what I'm saying. Listen to me. Can you imagine? Avatar himself is saying that, incarnation of divine. Don't find fault. Trust that I'm saying the right thing. Trust the vision I have, the agenda-free, that vision you trust, because what you need to gain is that vision. The same vision of the teacher has to be transmitted through the intellect. So ultimately, your intellect should become teacher's intellect. Teacher and student's intellect should be the same. I noticed this with my acharyas actually. So when Puja Swamiji was alive, I saw this. We had two acharyas for the long-term course that I was in Anekatti. So Puja Swamiji, Dayananda Saraswati was one of the teachers. Sakshat Kritananda Swami was another of the teachers. They hardly saw each other. They lived in different kutyas, so they had their own independent kutyas. But whenever we asked questions from Puja Swamiji, and we would run straight to Sakshat Swamiji, ask the same question just to test. Exactly the same words would come out of both their mouths. In fact, my mantra, I remember when I was given Diksha as Brahmacharini, I was giving Brahmacharini Diksha by Puja Swamiji. He took a long time to decide the name, and he looked through a lot of Sanskrit dictionaries, many of these things, and he gave the name Nandana Chaitanya. And I went to Swamiji. There's no phone, nothing. Sakshat Swamiji. I went to his kutya. What did he say? Swamiji gave you Nandana Chaitanya. He said the exact name out of all names. I said, how did you know, Swamiji? He said, I know. That is what Swamiji would have given. How do they know? Because buddhis are one. The shishya, the teacher, and the students' intellects become one. So you are connected not on physical level. They're physically apart. But this is the real connection, and that is how knowledge in those days is transmitted. And for that transmission, for the connection to happen, what is the bridge for connection? Shraddha. So Shraddha is this bridge for the connection, and that connection is to bless you with spiritual knowledge. So with that, I think we will leave it today. And a few more things I have to say, but any questions you have, you can always ask, and I will answer it next week. So wish you all a very peaceful week ahead. May Bhagavan be with you every moment. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om to all. Om.